Okay, so for the next part, we are going to find the sum of squares interaction, or the sum of squares A times B. Okay, so we're going to need our SSBG, our SSA, and our SSB value. So our SSBG value is here. So we have 137.13, and then we are going to subtract our SSA value of 35.04, and then subtract again 100.04. Okay? All right, so let's do these two values first. So we'll have 137.13 minus 35.04. That's going to give us 102.09 minus 100.04. Okay, so when we take 102.09 minus 100.04, that's going to give us 2.05. Okay, so then we just take our table here, and in our interaction spot, we are going to write 2.05. Okay, so now that we have that entire column filled, we can go ahead and check our amounts here, okay? So the SST, all of these values should reach this value here, okay? So let's check it out and make sure that they do. So 35.04 plus 100.04 plus 2.05 plus 16.83 gives us 153.96. Awesome. Okay, so that all adds up. Another way that you can check it is your SSA, your SSB, and your SSA times B should equal this amount here. Okay, so let's double check that. So we have 35.04 plus 100.04 plus 2.05, and that's going to give us 137.13, which is our SSBG. Okay, awesome. So far, so good. Okay, next we can go ahead and start filling out the rest of our columns. Okay, so go ahead and pull out the sheet of paper with the table on it and how to find the answers for each of the squares in that table. I showed you earlier in the video how to do that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So let's find our degrees of freedom for our first independent variable, or for our column area. Okay, so the degrees of freedom for this is the number of columns minus 1. Okay, so we had 2 columns. So 2 columns minus 1 is going to give us degrees of freedom of 1. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the degrees of freedom for the rows. Okay, so it's the same thing just with rows. So it is the number of rows minus 1. Okay, so the number of rows that we had was 1. 1 subtracted 1 is also 1. Okay, next, our degrees of freedom interaction. That is the degrees of freedom for the columns here, and the degrees of freedom for the rows multiplied, okay? So for this one, for the degrees of freedom interaction, it's going to be the degrees of freedom for the columns, which is 1, multiplied by the degrees of freedom for the row, which is 1, which is going to give us 1. Okay, awesome. All right, next we have the degrees of freedom within groups, okay, which is n minus k, okay? So we have our n value here. So we have n equals 24 and k equals 4, okay? So for this, we need n minus k. So 24 minus 4 equals 20. Okay, and then we have one more here for our total, which is n minus 1. Okay, so we have our n value of 24 minus 1. So 24 minus 1 is going to give us 23. Okay, so our degrees of freedom total is going to be 23. Okay, and we're going to do the same thing that we did before and just double check our math. So we're going to add all these numbers up, and it should equal this number here. Okay, so 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 20 equals 23. Okay, awesome. Good job. Next, let's go ahead and find our MS values. Okay, so the solutions are once again on that table. Another easy way that you can do it is you can just divide these numbers across. So to find the MS for columns, you're just going to take 35.04 and divide that by 1. Okay, so 35.04 divided by 1 is going to be 35.04. Okay, you're going to do the same thing here. So 100.04 divided by 1 is 100.04. Okay, do the same thing for here. 2.05 divided by 1 is 2.05. Okay, and for the last one, we actually have to use the calculator. So 16.83 divided by 20 is going to give us 0.84. Okay? Okay, next let's find those F values. So you can look at the solutions on that table that I showed you. Another way that you can do it is you can take your MS value here and you are going to divide it by your MSW. So you're going to take each one of these numbers and divide it by this number here and put it into the corresponding column. So for the first one, we're going to take 35.04 and we're going to divide that by our MSW, which is 0.84. Okay, so we will have 35.04 divided by 0.84. That's going to give us 41.71. Okay, so the F value for that will be 41.71. Okay, and then for the second one, we are going to take 100.04 and divide that by the MSW of 0.84. Okay, so 100.04 divided by 0.84, that's going to give us 119.10. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing for the last one. So we're going to take 2.05, divide that by 0.84. And that's going to give us 2.44. Okay, now let's go ahead and look up those values on the table. Okay, so what we are going to do is we're going to plug some numbers into here. So our degrees of freedom within goes here. So that's this number here. So we have 20, and that goes in there for both of them. And then here we have our degrees of freedom for our column or our row. So now those are both the same number, thank goodness. Okay, so 1 and 20. Okay, so we're going to take table G, and the degrees of freedom within are here and degrees of freedom between are here. So this 1 is going to count for the degrees of freedom between. Okay, so that's going to be here. There's the 1. And then we're going to go all the way down to 20. Okay, so for our 0.05, it looks like we have 4.35. Okay, and then for a 0.01, we have 8.10. Okay. Now that we have that, what we are going to do is we are going to compare our F values to these values here. Okay. All right. So let's take our first value here. So we have 41.71. Is that greater than 4.35? Yes. Is 41.71 greater than 8.10? Yes, it is. Okay, next one, 100.04. Is that greater than 4.35? Yes. Is 100.04 greater than 8.10? Yes. Okay, and then the last one, 2.44. Is that greater than 4.35? No. And is 2.44 greater than 8.10? No. Okay, so this is the 0.01 level, okay? So we are going to be able to write the 0.01 for our 41.71. We're also going to be able to write 0.01 for our 100.4, but this wasn't bigger than any of these values here, so this is not significant. Okay, congratulations. You were able to reject HO. So I have gone ahead and written down a small table with the means from each group. Okay, so this was the mean from group A, group B, group C, and group D. Okay, so the group that is of the greatest difference from any other group is this one here. Okay, so if you wanted to write that into sentence form, here is the basic formula for that. So there is a significant interaction, or you would write there is not a significant interaction if there wasn't. This means that people in IV1 with IV2 had the most or largest DV. And then you would go on to say indicating that this group has the highest, worst, or best, depending on your situation, blank. Okay, so for this particular problem, the sentence form of your results would be there is a significant interaction. This means that people in rooms with increased temperature who exercised had the most conductivity, indicating that this group had the highest levels of skin conductivity. Okay, so as a last little note, I'm going to show you how to go ahead and graph that information that we found. So you're just going to take your information from your table. These are your means. And what's going to go on the y-axis is going to be your dependent variable. And so these are the levels of conductivity here. And then what's going on your x-axis is your independent variables. Okay, so what I went ahead and did is I made a line for exercise and I made a line for no exercise. And so now all that we have to do is just plot the points. Okay, so let's do increased temperature first. Okay, so we'll go under exercise, and increased temperature was 8.33. Okay, so we'll put that one here. And then no exercise for increased temperature was 3.67. So we'll put that one like right here, okay? Then we'll just make a little note like increased temperature. We'll do that as, say, a dotted line, okay? And so we're just going to go, oh, sorry, this is not very straight. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to go ahead and do reduced temperature, and we're going to do that one as a solid line, okay? And so let's go ahead and mark those. So for exercise and reduced temperature, we had 5.33. So let's put that like right here. And then for no exercise and reduced temperature, we had 1.83. Okay, so we'll put that one like right there, okay? So there we go. Okay, and that's it. And that's how you graph it. All right, congratulations, guys. You just did Factorial ANOVAs.